you're watching Half Asian Tarot Queen. I am Elisa, and here with my mom. I actually have like 3 readings that that are kind of in the hopper that never got posted because I just kind of got busy. So I don't know if I'm gonna post them now because they might be out of date, but today is a new moon solar eclipse, and it's the beginning of eclipse season, which is kind of a big deal. So I figured I'd jump in and see what we're looking at. Okay, so I'm starting with the Mystical Shaman, and it's interesting because I just did the split and we got the Andean Cross and the Rainbow. So this is really good because this is speaking to sort of like, and this seems super apropos for eclipse season because it's like, this is like a portal. Like we're going through this doorway and we're like entering like a new stage of life. Like there's implicit in this is there's like been this sort of transformative process and we're kind of coming out the other side of it and entering into this new experience in life. And then what makes it even really positive is we have the rainbow. So this really speaks to, I mean, we have this bird who's like flying free, you know, totally in alignment with all these planets here. But then not only are they in alignment in the external world, but this rainbow like is kind of a reflection of them being in alignment internally. So it's really interesting because it's like, this is kind of like the chakras are all in alignment, and it's also in alignment with the world around them. So it's like the wind is at their back and they have the support of God or the universe, or, you know, however you experience your sort of spiritual self. And this bird is flying. So it's like, it's almost like coming out of this era of something that's not this. So, I mean, it really implies sort of like having gone through this sort of transformative process, learning the lessons, and then this moment of liberation where like you can like spread your wings and fly. Like that's kind of what I'm getting from these 2 cards. So it's a pretty nice way to start off eclipse season, I gotta say. So I'm gonna go to the Light Seers. I actually have a whole box full of decks that I was using, and I've been rearranging things, and I don't know what happened to them. So yeah, so we're just changing things up here, and I'm sure that those decks will turn up eventually, but for now we're gonna do kind of like, I don't know if it would be shortened, but there's less decks, so everything happens for a reason. Whoops, okay, this just flopped out. All right, I'm gonna pull some cards from the Light Seers Tarot. We'll get sort of an on-the-ground perspective. And then since it is the eclipse, it's a new moon, I'm gonna pull from the Queen of the Moon Oracle. Because yeah, this, I mean, it's like what's about to pop off in your life, because you know this is the time when big shifts happen. It's like eclipse season. So oh my gosh, this is really interesting. Okay, just a couple more. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So we got the King of Swords. So we've got this crow looking down on this King of Swords. So it's almost like there's this truth that, and then we have the owls. So there's this wisdom And this King of Swords is kind of like, interestingly, getting ready to liberate themselves from some situationship, and with this, using this sword of truth. So like speaking some truth into the world that's going to change their circumstance, you know, and which is interesting because I was just talking about this sort of transformative process. We have this person who's kind of suffering. They're in this state of lack here. But this person is actually truly an empress. And they have this bun in the oven. Like there's something that they've been gestating during this period of, you know, this person looks like they're kind of being abused or taken advantage of. You know, it's like they're like locked up. But they've been using this time effectively, and they're like using it as a gestational period. But what I'm getting from this is that there's some truth that's going to be spoken maybe during this eclipse season that's going to, this is the Six of Pentacles. So this is a card of like you know, giving and taking and like bringing that into balance. So it's like this person, I mean, this kind of suggests that that hasn't been the case, you know, like they've been getting taken for granted, taken advantage of, you know, they've been using this time to build a new earth, you know, like they're just stating like they have something brewing. But it's interesting because we have this followed by the Temperance card, which in certain ways, this is kind of like the minor arcana version of this almost, because this is a card of bringing things into balance. It's a card of healing. It's like this person is like being lifted up by angels' wings. So it's almost like this is kind of like bringing things into a balance, like in like a tangible way, like, you know, for example, like if someone stole money from you, you get that back, or, you know, some kind of justice in some sort of tangible way coming to this person. But this almost speaks to it like coming from a spiritual realm, like this person has the support of the divine behind them, and that is even more powerful. So it's just like this truth is being spoken, and it's going to bring about some sort of rebalancing. That's perhaps what is going to liberate this person and allow them to go through this doorway into this next stage. So this is really interesting and very apropos for eclipse season. So, okay, I'm going to go to the Queen of the Moon Oracle because it is a new moon and it is a solar eclipse. Okay, interesting. So when I did the split, so we got the Wolf Moon, Hunger. This speaks to like, you know, just this really intense passion that's being unleashed. And this is like an Aries new moon solar eclipse. You know, and Aries is a pretty fiery energy, but I've been reading stuff online about there being some sort of like healing crisis coming to the surface for this new moon, which is interesting because this kind of speaks to that. It's just like something's being brought into balance in an earthly and in the spiritual realm. And then we have Focus, which, I mean, this picture kind of depicts someone who's sort of like in this state of manifestation, you know, like they are really focusing their mind and their energy on this butterfly, you know, on this transformation that they're manifesting for themselves. So it's like, there's going to be a lot of passion and fire that's unleashed in this moment. And so it's important to stay focused on what you're trying to manifest and not getting derailed by all of the passion and fire that's going to be unleashed during this moment. So that's a good message. I mean, ultimately, you know, the big picture is that things are being brought into balance and wrongs are being righted, it looks like. However, this kind of suggests that it's going to be a pretty dramatic process. So don't lose your focus in the midst of that. Like, you know what you're trying to manifest. So don't really get derailed by like other people's drama, so to speak. Because there's definitely going to be that happening. It's like the collective that I'm reading for here, it's just like, this is actually going to be a positive change because they've been, you know, giving more than they've been taking, and it's going to be coming into balance, you know. So that's a good thing. But however, when people are used to taking more than they give, and then that gets brought into balance, you know, I mean, that's can be really triggering, and it's probably going to be very upsetting for whoever that applies to. So, you know, expect drama. Okay, this is interesting because this came out in the last reading that I did, which I probably am not going to post because it's sort of out of, you know, but it's Lineage of the Rose, moved by the goddess, here for this, soul call, gather. So this is all meant to happen as it is happening. We have the Rose of Venus, alignment, flow, right relationship, harmony. Oh my gosh. I mean, this really speaks to sort of like the rainbow energy, but it's interesting because there's this sort of like, it's almost like a combination of the two cards that we showed in the beginning. So, it's like you are in alignment internally, the world around you is in alignment, like, this is kind of like the moment you've been waiting for, you know, like that's kind of how this is reading. And then we have held. Sureness of the soil, unseen help, support, and community. Oh my gosh. So I think if I was to sum this up, I would say that it's like there's going to be a big shift that's going to happen. The balance of power is going to shift, but it's meant to be, it's karmic, and you are being supported through this change. So know that that is the case, and step forward with confidence, because you are in alignment, the wind is at your back, and this is going to be a positive change. So, but expect eclipse season to be full of fireworks. So we will keep you posted as things unfold.